Well, hello, Sagittarius. Good afternoon. I was going to take today off, but I just felt inspired by a reading that was forming in my mind. And this is the day of Jupiter, right? So, you might find, since we are ruled by Jupiter and Jupiter's all about expansion, that Thursdays are the days that you have the most ideas, that you feel the most inspired, that you maybe even have the most energy, honestly. Which is funny because Mondays I always felt were my day, because I love new beginnings. But so, in the spirit of Jupiter, we are going to do, because I think Thursdays are when people typically do money and career readings, but I like to, make it a little more interesting. So today, in the interest of expansion, we're looking at opportunities, all kinds of them. Yeah. So I'm so grateful that you're here and that I still have this channel, and that it just adds to my abundance every single day. And so let's find out what's adding to yours. If you're looking for personals, please check out the link in my description. And I'm not here for the fluff. I tell the truth as it is, and all the messages are for your greater good. Amen, amen. So, interestingly enough, first thing I did was ask about opportunities in like a general way for you, Sag, quite honestly. And what came out, and this is the Quantum Oracle, which I don't see too many people using, so maybe not too many people actually have it. But it kind of covers all of the different things in your life. Like it has cycles, it has energy, it has spirit and consciousness. So it covers things in a broader way that I actually really like. But let's get on with it, right? So this is interesting, Sag. I don't know what to make of it, honestly, because this could just be general in the way that you are just committing yourself to incorporating more fun activities in your life. And if you have a family, I don't know why I'm thinking this, I just am. It could mean something as that incorporates the other people in your life. For instance, because we see a lot of children here, you could, be committing to more activities, doing more activities with children, right? Or your children or your family. But I think whatever it is, it's like the thing that's got me a little wackadoodle here is the contract. You actually signing something. So I don't know, how that's going. It could be that you're just committing to enveloping more things in your life, maybe not working so much. So there could be something about your work that is changing. So I am going to look at what the contract of it all means, to be honest with you, because I don't know. That part's kind of got me. And I know it's not literal, right? Because there is a glow there. So there is something about it being spiritual, right? But let's see. So tell me more about this contract for Sagittarius. Ooh, it means exactly what I said. Seven of Pentacles, one more. Thank you. Thank you. Strength. Yeah, I feel like this is you just really embracing more fun in your life. You're deciding to do that. And this may mean something for you in terms of work. Okay. Seven of Pentacles. Good. We know that's a pivot, right? And, you know, definitely, I don't know if it's being in charge so much as, especially with the Strength card here, you're doing something that can mean reducing your hours, or even taking a job that has less hours or something like that. And I mean, it's hard, right? It's hard, but there's also, it kind of is saying you might be at the point where you can. Oh, Nine of Swords and the Page of Swords. So that might mean hiring more people or delegating. And it has you worried. Like worried about whether or not you can do this. Wow, this is... yeah, Judgment. And the Eight of Cups. The High Priestess. I feel like you're making a decision here. Right? And that's really about more things being important in your life. And it's... and maybe, you know, honestly, you might be thriving in the area of work. And so this might be a really hard decision for you. It's like at the height of your popularity, you know, disappearing. Is that a great idea? Usually, I mean, I think people think it isn't, but this is important in your life. And it's important, you know, as Sagittarius has been striving for balance. And I will tell you that the Seven of Pentacles has shown up a few times. A few times, Sag, and that means something. That really means, you know, it's really telling you you have achieved a lot. You don't have to keep being in this mode of I have to achieve more. I have to achieve. I have to achieve. I have to push. You can relax. Just saying. And usually that's a Capricorn mood, specifically Capricorn moon. I used to have a client that was a Capricorn moon, and you know, she was actually a very interesting person without, you know, exposing too much, but she wound up being a medical intuitive. But it was really hard for her to see that because she had that Capricorn moon, which means she had been all about achieving her whole life. Like, so now at a certain point in her life, she had to step back and see what else she was. And I only say this because it applies to the reading. Okay. Just saying, you know, your advice, and, you know, advice is always an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to apply this advice to your life or to not. You know, it's purely up to you, but it's asking you to hold something, like hold something for yourself, right? To protect some of the things that you don't have to tell people all of your desires. It's telling you to hold something for yourself, you know, and you might need to protect yourself or something that your soul really wants, you know. Very interesting. And that's like, maybe in the past you might have been one who didn't do that, who wasn't really strict on boundaries and how, what we want, we have to protect, like the biggest things that we want. So I feel like we've been going along this path of being careful who we tell things to, right? Especially when they're like, if they're that important to us. And you know I kind of feel like maybe in the past you didn't do that, because we're Sagittarians. We have this like thing of oversharing, right? And if it's that important to you, if that's that much of a part of you, it's telling you, I think, to be careful about who you tell. You don't have to tell everyone, right? But it's also really like screaming at me to keep something for yourself. Okay? Wow. Okay. So what is your relational opportunity? Interesting. New beginning is here. Which is about bigger things. Like, this is new opportunities in your relationships. Maybe it's just even the way you think, because there seems to be a new perspective on relationships and passion and destiny. And it's possible that your dreams, even in a relational way, which means your relationships with others, have changed. Because as we get older, as we grow, what we want changes, how we see things change. And it feels like this is happening. It's talking about embracing new beginnings and letting go of the past, which is very hangmanish, which did come out in your energy. So lately you may be really thinking about things in a really different light, and letting go of the ways that you used to think about things. So, and that's going to be affecting your relationships going forward, because you don't even, if you're not with someone, or even if you are, which can definitely happen, and relationships should grow when you grow, right? So you may find that that's kind of what's happening here, right? I hope that made sense. Your soul opportunity is very interesting. Am I focused on what I am losing or gaining? Are you going through some change? Are you scared to let go because of what you might lose? What if you shifted your focus from what you might lose to what you might gain? Endings are actually new beginnings, always. And there's the thing, and that's also a hangman energy. For me, anyway, because the hangman's also about sacrifice. What are you willing to let go of? Right? Because we all say we want these big changes in our life. But in order for that to happen, we literally have to let go of something. Because you don't want me to preach again about making space, but that is essentially what needs to happen, always. And it's funny, on the bottom, it's what am I most afraid of losing? And then right under it, it's telling you to adopt an abundance mindset. So it's really time to get into, it doesn't matter what you have to lose. It's only about what you have to gain. And that's where your thoughts should be. Wowza. Sagittarius, oh boy. So, I mean, you energetically, you've really been thinking about what your end game looks like. What happiness, total happiness and fulfillment looks like. And that's changing. The hangman. Wow. And it's so interesting because it's like so much in between energy, which is a beautiful place. I don't care what anyone says. But with the Seven of Pentacles and the Hangman being so relevant to you right now, it doesn't mean that you've done a lot in your life. It doesn't mean that. It just means that things that are no longer serving. It doesn't make them bad. You know, it's kind of like at that point you wanted that and you achieved that. But now it's time to pivot. And all it is growth, and it's so beautiful. It really, really is. But, you know, the Knight of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords is here, really talking about some kind of way that you've been doing things has to change. Okay, the Knight of Pentacles is usually a good card. It actually is. And that could mean that a particular path is ending. Something you've put a lot of effort into is ending. I don't know, but because, you know, the Knight of Pentacles is also about the process. You know, something you've worked on for a long time, but I tend to think it's a certain way of doing things that has to end. It has nothing left to give. You know, the Ten of Swords is so much more than just being betrayed. It's enough. It's done. You know, so that's what Spirit is saying. You know, and then we're seeing the Seven of Pentacles again. It's really time for a pivot here. And, you know, also I feel like it's okay to breathe. It's okay to be in this in between. It's not really calling for you necessarily to do something because you're thinking about, you know, the next turn. And it doesn't even have to be a big turn. You know, it can be a slight turn. That's kind of what a pivot is. And your takeaway, and you've learned a lot here, which will really serve you going forward, basically. Okay. So the takeaway is the Knight of Wands and the Hierophant. You know, sometimes, like, we are the Knight of Wands, specifically. And the Knight of Wands does, like, are motivated by their passions. But at times, you know, the Knight of Wands can work against us because it can represent as a irresponsible, impulsive energy, right? That thinks about its passions, what we want to do, not what we have to do. It's not a very responsible energy. And, you know, with the Hierophant being here, I feel like Spirit is telling you it's okay to be the adventurer. You have been serious. You have been doing what you're supposed to do. It's okay to do that. And the truth is like right now, you may not know what that is, right? The moon makes things confusing. And it's just about discovering. Like even the pivot, you might be saying to yourself, what pivot? What am I supposed to do? I don't know. You're not supposed to know what to do. You're supposed to be in this mode of exploring things. Because we Sagittarians thrive on discovery. Like we get the most excited and we learn the most from our experiences. Not necessarily from books or, you know. So that's what's happening. Wow, Sagittarius. So I have felt like the last couple of days have been really reflective energy. Not necessarily, boom, this is happening in my life. You know, and on the bottom here, oh, wow. is transformation, great gratitude. So there is definitely a new cycle coming in. Vast universe. You are, and look, teachers here again. I really feel like that Sagittarius is the student right now. And it's beautiful because all of a sudden, you know, it's going to open you up to experiences maybe you hadn't considered, ways of thinking you hadn't considered, people you hadn't considered. And you're going to feel very grateful for that. Well, oh my gosh, Sagittarius. So let's take a look at actions. Won't that be fun? What actions the animal guides are telling you to think about or advising you, you know? We love the animal spirits around here. Oh, that's what you can tell me in the comments, what you think your spirit animal is. Think about your personality when you do that too. Because I think the owl is my spirit animal, actually. I know a lot of people are probably going to pick the phoenix, but no, the owl is wise. The owl is about new beginnings. The owl doesn't rush. They do a whole lot of watching and adapting. Sometimes you don't even see the owl, you know? And I feel like that's me all over the place. Okay. Animal spirits. What is your advice for action, animal spirits? Gentleness. Okay. Give yourself grace, Sagittarius. Definitely slowing down, right? Okay. Gentleness and cleverness. The deer and the rabbit. This is a reminder to be more gentle with yourself and others. The grace, sensitivity, and gentleness of this spirit animal echo the qualities brought forth when living from the heart. Aww. And cleverness, if you have been, so, you know, maybe you need to give yourself more grace, especially if the Seven of Pentacles is kind of moving you right now. Cleverness, if you've been going through difficult times, it is time to think outside the box to find the solution. It's a pivot. This is also a reminder to avoid neglecting your creative side. If you have let creative projects lapse, it may be the time to pick them back up. Oh my gosh, Sagittarius. Do you feel attacked? Like, that really, like, probably encapsulated your whole reading in 2 cards. And it could really all be that simple, but I'm not having it. So we have to have our time together. So let's see what you need to keep in mind, Sag. What do you need to keep in mind, Sagittarius? Yeah, I do actually really feel like right before the pivot, we're at the crossroads, right? It's so exciting. Okay. What does Sag need to keep in mind? No, that's not it. That's it. Oh, all is okay. All is well. All that I feel is okay. I hold myself in love throughout the unsureness, the worry, doubt, anger, fear, anxiety, rejection, or overwhelm. I am thankful to feel the full range of emotions that I do. These emotions are the very contrast that leads to my higher expansion. Once again, the reading telling you everything is expanding, and I feel like what this is telling you is that it's going to bring up a lot of feelings, and that's okay. And it's okay to not be sure. We don't have to know everything all the time. So that's what I have for you, Sagittarius. I hope it really helps. Toodles.